The first light of dawn filtered through the tall windows of a grand townhouse in London, spilling soft gold across the dining room. Everything gleamed. The polished marble floor reflected the glow, and the crystal glasses sparkled on the long dining table. Though it was a place of wealth and elegance, silence often lingered, making the house feel more like a museum than a home. The owners, Richard and Helena Westwood, were people of great success. Richard, a high-profile banker, spent most of his days flying back and forth between New York and London, while Helena, a celebrated fashion executive, was constantly traveling between Paris, Milan, and beyond. Their lives revolved around schedules, boardrooms, and glamorous events. In the midst of this whirlwind was their only child, a 12-year-old girl named Clara. She lived in the shadow of busy parents who rarely slowed down enough to notice the small details of her everyday life. The one constant presence in Clara's world was her caretaker, a kind-hearted woman named Margaret. At 52, Margaret carried the wisdom of a mother who had already raised 3 children of her own. With her warm brown eyes and gentle voice, she could calm Clara's fears with just a few words. She had been part of the Westwood household since Clara was 3 years old, and over time, she had become more than an employee. She was the steady hand that brushed Clara's hair in the morning, the soothing voice that read stories at bedtime, and the comforting hug when the child woke up frightened in the dark. One seemingly ordinary Tuesday morning, Margaret was folding laundry in Clara's room. She hummed softly as she smoothed out neatly pressed uniforms, casual dresses, and the endless collection of designer outfits Helena often purchased in excess. Then, as she lifted a pale blue skirt, something unusual caught her eye. A faint but undeniable red stain near the hem dot. At first, Margaret assumed it might be paint, perhaps ketchup from a school lunch, or maybe juice spilled without care. But as she looked closer, her heart tightened. She set the skirt aside and tried to continue with her work, but the thought lingered like a shadow in her mind. That afternoon, when Clara returned from school, she dragged her backpack across the floor, her shoulders slightly slouched and her expression far away. Margaret poured her a glass of milk, set a plate of biscuits on the counter, and asked gently, "Are you all right, my dear?" Clara gave a small shrug and nibbled at the edge of a biscuit. "I'm fine," she whispered, though her eyes told a different story. Margaret didn't press her right away. She knew the child well enough to wait for the right moment. Later, that evening, as Clara changed into her pajamas, Margaret followed her upstairs with a stack of freshly folded clothes. Clara pulled out a pair of her favorite cotton pajamas, soft and slightly worn, the kind that gave her comfort. She slipped into them quietly, unaware of the dark red stain now spreading across the white fabric. Margaret froze when she saw it. The mark was clear and unmistakable. Closing the door softly, she sat on the edge of the bed and spoke in a calm but steady tone. "Clara, sweetheart, can we talk for a moment?" The girl's little hands twisted nervously at the hem of her sleeve. "What is it?" she asked, her voice hesitant. "I noticed some red stains on your clothes," Margaret said gently. "It seems this has happened more than once. Has this been going on for a while?" Clara's eyes dropped to the floor. After a long pause, her lips trembled and she whispered, "It happened last week too. I didn't know what to do." Margaret's heart ached. This child, who should have been guided lovingly into this new stage of life, had been left to face fear and confusion alone. She scooted closer, wrapping an arm around Clara's shoulders. "My darling, you've just started your monthly cycle. It's nothing to be afraid of. Every girl experiences it. It's simply a sign that your body is growing." Clara's face flushed with embarrassment, and tears welled up in her eyes. "But at school, I felt so ashamed. I thought something was wrong with me. I didn't tell anyone, not even Mom." "There is absolutely nothing wrong with you," Margaret assured her. "You are perfectly healthy. You just need to learn how to take care of yourself during this time, and that's what I'm here for." From her own bag, Margaret pulled out a small pack of sanitary pads she always kept with her, just in case. She explained each step carefully, showing Clara what to do, her voice calm and encouraging. Slowly, the girl's shoulders eased, and for the first time in days, she felt safe. "But what if I make a mistake?" Clara whispered. "Then you'll learn, my dear," Margaret said softly. "Nobody gets it perfect at the beginning. You will be fine, I promise." That night, as Clara lay in bed, she whispered, "Thank you, Margaret. I was so scared. I thought Mother would be angry. She doesn't like when I bother her with little things." "You are never a bother," Margaret replied firmly, kissing her forehead. Not to me, and not to anyone who truly loves you. Yet inside, Margaret felt a wave of anger mixed with sorrow. How could Helena, a mother, be so wrapped up in her world that she missed such an important milestone in her daughter's life? The next morning, Clara pushed her breakfast around the plate without eating much. "I'm not hungry," she murmured. Margaret knelt beside her, speaking gently. "It's normal to feel uneasy with all these changes, but hiding it won't help. You can always talk to me." Clara looked up with watery eyes. I wish Mother noticed. I wish she cared enough to tell me about these things." Later that evening, Helena returned from a business trip. She swept into the house, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor, barely pausing to greet her daughter. She answered another phone call. Margaret hesitated, but knew she couldn't stay silent. When Helena finally hung up, Margaret spoke with quiet determination. "Madam, may I have a word with you? It's about Clara. She started her monthly cycle last week. She was frightened, confused, and thought something was wrong with her. I had to explain it to her." Helena froze, her face pale. "What? I didn't even realize. This is not something a child should go through alone," Margaret said firmly. For the first time in years, Helena's polished forehead cracked. Tears filled her eyes. "I thought she was still so little. I missed it. She doesn't need perfection," Margaret said gently. "She needs you to be present, to notice her." That night, Helena knocked softly on Clara's bedroom door. Sitting on the edge of her daughter's bed, she held the girl close, tighter than she had in years. "I'm so sorry, my love. I should have been here. I promise I'll do better. I'll slow down. I don't ever want you to feel alone again," Clara whispered. "It's okay, Mother. Margaret helped me." The words pierced Helena's heart deeper than any business failure ever had. For the first time, she realized the true cost of her ambition. She had nearly lost the bond with her daughter. From that night onward, the house began to change. Breakfast became more than a rushed meal. It was a time for conversation. Evenings turned into walks in the garden and help with homework. Richard, too, began noticing the small things about Clara, the way she laughed, the way she tucked her hair behind her ears. He started coming home earlier, eager to read with her before bed. Clara blossomed with confidence, knowing her parents were present alongside Margaret, who remained her anchor. The family was healing, one small step at a time. The lesson was simple. Wealth and success could buy luxury, but not love. Children don't measure affection through gifts or money. They measure it through presence, through hugs, laughter, and the feeling of being truly seen. Margaret had reminded the Westwoods of this truth in the most unexpected way through a red stain on a young girl's clothes. What could have been a moment of shame instead became a turning point, a reminder of what truly matters. And as Clara grew older, she often remembered that night. It wasn't just about the first time her body changed. It was about love, care, and never feeling invisible again.